Hey, good morning, guys. Dave Schmitz, resistancebandtraining.com. Welcome to the band gym today. Yeah, I have a band gym training minute for you today. Absolutely, it's going to be a series of minutes that I want to share with you based on a question I asked many of you several weeks ago. And that is, if you had one question you could ask me in regards to band training, what would it be? And hands down, the number one response was, can band training do what free weights do? And the answer is yes. But, there's always a but. But what is the goal? And in many of the cases that you guys were talking about, the goal was, can it build strength and muscle? So the answer is yes, but once again, the key is how you implement it and how you use bands to train. There's some unique things that you have to do when training with bands that makes the difference between being able to build muscle and strength and not go ahead and have success. That's what I want to go ahead and talk to you today about. Let's go ahead and let's break it down and let's get into today the number one key to building strength and muscle using bands versus free weights. All right, let's go ahead and break down the number one key in my mind to building strength and muscle with bands versus weights. Key is this: you need to understand the difference between the resistance. A dumbbell, constant resistance, keeps the muscle on tension at all times. Therefore, you go ahead and feel the muscle working all the time. With bands, the resistance is variable. That means it's going to change as you are going through the movement. However, the great thing about a variable resistance is you're going to be able to do a lot of other things to help build muscle, which we'll talk about later. But if you're strictly looking at how to go ahead and compare dumbbells to free weights, dumbbells or free weights to bands, you want to go ahead and look at the tension. In order for me to build muscle with the band, I'm going to have to keep tension on the system at all times, and that's where the problem lies with most people that are trained with bands. They don't keep the tension on. Let me use an example. Simple bicep curl, simple hammer curl. My feet are narrow. You can see that I don't have any tension on the band right now. So until I get to here, there's no tension. All right? I need to make sure that the tension starts immediately from my hands to my foot. So that means I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to widen my feet out with this particular exercise. Make sure when I grasp the band, I've already got tension on it. Yeah, from my hand to my foot, I've already got tension. So I have tension through the full range of motion. That's the key. You must go ahead and make sure there's tension on the system throughout the whole range of motion, so you keep tension on the muscle through the whole range of motion. Let me give you another example of that I think really shows it clearly. Pulling is a perfect example. All right, very often when I see people pulling, all right, what I will see is them starting in this position. Well, there's no tension on the band. It's loose right here. The reason it's like that, probably they have too big a band, meaning they know they can't, when they go to pull, they can't finish the movement, so they start closer so they can finish the movement. The problem is I'm only getting tension from about this part of the range of motion to here. The muscle is never going to contract the way it should. The beauty of bands is that it's going to take the muscle into a lengthened position if you let it. So let's stretch the band out and now go through a range. Hey, the band is still have tension on it and I'm lengthening. That's the perfect contraction because now I've loaded the muscle, all right, with the tension on the band and it's ready to contract and squeeze. Compared to a dumbbell where I'm going ahead and yes, it's down here, but there's going to be no tension change from there to here. As a result, the muscle is not going to get that stimulus of being lengthened and then having to squeeze harder and harder and harder through the range of motion. That's the beauty of band training. But the key is you must keep the tension on the band at all times, which means that you must choose a band that, number one, keeps tension on the system at all times, but also challenges you. All right, so that's the key to it. Now, here's the problem. All right, you need to pick the right band, because if you pick a too light of band, all right, what's going to happen is you're going to probably overstretch it to get the amount of tension you need at the end of the range. If you choose too big a band, we've already talked about that. You're not going to keep it on tension, and therefore you're not going to get that lengthening effect that you want right before you contract. Pick your band wisely. The other thing is, you want a system that has some length to it. This is very important. Some people ask, well, Dave, why do I need pairs of bands? Well, because often you want to use a system that is at least 41 inches long. Sometimes you'll even see me double it up and use this system to create even a longer system. Why do I do that? Because the longer the system, the more variability I have in the resistance that's being recruited and used. Also, it allows me to always make sure that I can hit the end range on both sides. Some people you go ahead and take a band and they'll hook it up and they'll start with a short system like this. The problem with that is, at this point right here, there's nothing on the system. As I go to pull, I can't finish it. So as a result, I have to start closer so I can pull it. A shorter system is not going to provide you the variability and resistance to create the effect that I just talked to you about, which is keeping the tension on the system both at the beginning and the end. So guys, number one key to building strength, building muscle, but also maximizing your resistance band training success is keep the tension on. Yeah, keep the tension on the system. I'll come back with you in the future and help you build even more keys to going ahead and building strength and muscle. But for right now, let's keep the tension on the system. Let's pick the right size band and let's get to work.